almost like very first global network that was established through these monasteries and the back and forth. Monks are traveling, and maybe the merchants traveling. They're providing safety to each other and creating
Exactly.
all these routes and so on, and which eventually coming to these people coming back, coming from all over world to study in India because they were so intrigued by the ideas that are being exported. They wanted to go to the root and learn from original scriptures. Which brings us to the gentleman Huan Seng, if I'm
So in the old textbooks, which I remember teaching when I was a teacher in Dehradun in the mid '80s, he used to be spelt Huan Sang, but the Chinese in its modern transliteration, he's Xuanzang.
Xuanzang.
And so he is a kind of nerdy Buddhist monk who is worried that the translations he's using are corrupted. So in his view, he has to go back to the source, which is India. He also particularly wants something called the Yogacara text, which he can't find at all in China. So with these two ideas in his head, he sets off on foot.
And this is about 600 AD or so.
600 AD. And he crosses the
And
Gobi
in
Desert.
China, sorry, before, he was aware of existence of Nalanda and so on. That was his destination, or he discovers
Not only is he aware of the existence of Nalanda, he's aware of the particular teacher at Nalanda he wants to study under.
Right.
Silabhadra.
So just like somebody may want to go to Oxford today or Harvard today and study under a teacher, this guy
exactly
knew
that.
exactly where he wanted to go.
And so he wants to go and meet Silabhadra. He wants to get access to these particular texts. And he crosses the Gobi Desert illegally. He gets arrested at one point. Another time, he nearly gets shot by a crossbowman when he's trying to get some water in and the border guards think he's a robber or something. But anyway, luckily the guy is a Buddhist and rescues him and helps him on his way. Gets over the Pamirs, eventually gets to Nalanda. And Nalanda is again something which I don't think people make enough of here.
You talk about 9-story library there.
9-story library.
Still hard to believe.
And the shocking thing is that even today, only 10% of Nalanda has been dug. It's a vast complex. But when you go today, what is uncovered is 6 successive courtyards. And it's like Oxford High Street. Just like in Oxford High Street, you have Queen's College, All Souls, all these different University College lining the road. And each one you have scholars' rooms around a courtyard. This is what Nalanda is. And Nalanda comes up with that plan. Nalanda is the first place, or certainly the Buddhist universities of India come up with that plan, which then transmits itself to the madrasas of Islam, and then eventually becomes the universities of which are founded in 12th century Europe next to the Islamic world, or next to Spain, in Salerno, in Bologna, in Paris, and ultimately Oxford and Cambridge.
Incredible.
So India's influence reaches further. And this guy, Shailendra Rajmehta, has written this book coming out next year, which is I think going to knock everyone's socks off next year. But anyway, it's an extraordinary story. And Xuanzang spends 20 years at Nalanda translating texts.
He learned Sanskrit and everything.
He, I think, knew Sanskrit before he went, but he certainly perfects it in India. And he is given some elephants by King Harsha and a load of pack animals, and he gets nearly all his manuscripts back to China. One boat sinks on the Indus and loses some of his favorite manuscripts, but most of it makes it back intact. And the Emperor Taizong builds him a library, which is still there to this day, called the Wild Goose Pagoda, one of the most famous buildings in Xi'an. And what happens is, in the next generation, one of Xuanzang's proteges, who's this young woman, Wu Zetian, who was originally just a 5th-ranking concubine in the harem, but who is a Buddhist and who was clearly a hottie and got the eye of the emperor and the emperor's son, and ends up mysteriously moving from the harem of the father to being the first concubine of the son. She eventually becomes first empress, and then on the death of Gaizong, she becomes the only woman emperor in the whole history of China. Not Dowager Duchess, not Dowager Emperor, not...
So not before, not since. She's the only person.
Only one. And she does it because the Confucians don't let women rule. It's one of the basic principles of Confucianism. Women are inferior, like peasants, says Confucius. So she has to appeal to Xuanzang's Nalanda-trained Buddhist monks. And you have effectively a sort of Indian coup d'etat, putting Wu Zetian on the throne. Wu Zetian organizes it, so but she makes use of the Indian trained and ethnic Indian monks. And you briefly have for one reign, which is the high watermark ever of Indian influence in China, a basically Indian-looking Buddhist administration running China in the 660s.
Incredible.
And this is something I think no one here knows.
I've never heard of this before. I read with a lot of fascination the book. She has all these Buddhist monks providing all the justification for her rule and all these prophecies. And they were
I think the Buddhist monks came up with prophecies to order, and she clearly rewarded them for. And they say, "Oh, she's not only is she meant to be the empress, she's the reincarnation of a Devi that's mentioned in the Lotus Sutra. She's the reincarnation of Maitreya, the Bodhisattva, and we must build a city to Maitreya in Xi'an." So it's a huge sort of big sort of religious con job.
Politics and religion does find very interesting way to mix. And
it, of course, could never happen today.
Definitely not. Old times.
Old times. Exactly.
We are far evolved now.
Exactly. Can you imagine religion entering politics today?
At Sparks, we aim to bring to you stories of exponential impact. We share in-depth analysis of what goes behind success stories. If you find our conversations interesting, you can join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also listen to Sparks on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or any other audio platform of your choice. If you have any suggestions on who we should invite or what topics we need to cover, just let us know in the comments. We are always listening, looking for ways to improve, and keep getting better as we go along.